And she told me, thank you. It means a lot.
Nice.
Because I'm you, and people will look and say, no, you're one of us. You know?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the same advice. So look at stress as a focus device, and what you just mentioned, that's like, those are the tools that I'm using.
So how can someone then, because not everybody's going to get up on stage, not everybody's going to be a Shai Reznik up, presenting all of these things in front of hundreds of people, but how can an everyday developer, because you've been there too, you're a programmer, right? How can we, in our pressure situations, there's a deadline, or you maybe are brand new to your team, be that because you're an entry level, a junior, or maybe you've just joined a new company. We all feel pressure at different points. So how have you taken what you've learned from all of these adventures? And by the way, I think we should call this, you mentioned we should make a series on all of your adventures of Shai's presentations.
Shai's
so we
messing
should,
up.
So we'll have like a series of
We might even
Shai's
do like
adventures.
a live reacting of it.
Yeah, there we go.
We can. So most of the time, I had like assistants, like friends who helped me during the preparations, or saw me in my most like stressed time, like with the game show and all that stuff. So we can bring them, and they can tell their
perspective.
testimonial.
Nice. Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay, so but how can you take what you've learned there and put that into an everyday programmer's circumstances? What advice have you learned that you would say you're experiencing pressure? Here's how I suggest you get through that. Here's how you can surmount it or quiet those anxieties, quiet the imposter syndrome.
Thinking about it, I learned a lot from doing years of improv. And in improv, to get out of a stressful situation, or to get out of a weird situation, because you get into a point where, when you're beginning in it, you're trying to please the audience and trying to make up a special thing, unique, ideas and all this stuff, where most of the time, the best improv is very simple. It's like the next natural thing. And what you learn about is, part of the tools that you learn is to be honest, and to be very, very honest with what is happening now. For example, if I'm feeling lost because I didn't listen to what has just been said, instead of coming with my idea and ruining what just have been built by my team members in terms of narrative, I can just say, I'm confused. I can be honest. I didn't listen to you. And they can take it and play on that, like, oh, you never listened to me, something like that, right? But I was honest, so I don't have this barrier inside of me, like this other voice saying, oh, you lost the narrative and blah, blah. I just let it out there. Same thing stand-up comedians do, where the joke doesn't go well, you just address it. Oh, this didn't go well, right? And then you relieve the pressure, because the audience can feel it. We know that you messed up, and if you don't address it, there's this weird tension that happens.
True.
Same thing I think I try to do with my software development career, or when I used to be an employee in companies. I try to be honest about not meeting the deadline or needing help. I have this story of how I got into testing, and it came out of working 9 to 5 in the day job, going back home, driving 1 hour back home, and working until 2-3 a.m. on my startup, my side project.
Side hustle.
Yeah, hustle with 2 friends, trying to build a startup to be, I don't know, I want to be like the CTO and like to make an exit,
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I worked like this for 2 years, and it got to a point where I was like, I had deadlines in my day job, and I didn't meet them because they gave me like a very complicated feature to create, like this workflow, like lots of stuff, and we had 0 tests. So I kept like producing bugs and trying to fix one and creating 5 more, and it was like very tangled. And now I had this. We needed to raise money, so I had this project. Who I was the only developer that created this, and I needed to finish it to show the investors because we're counting on that to raise the funds. But because of the bugs on the day job, I kept spending more time on the day job and I had less time. So I was like in this conflict of like I cannot do nothing on each side, right? It's too much.
Mhm.
And at one point, I said to myself, "Oh, I have a brilliant idea. I just won't sleep."
Oh,
Uh-huh.
great.
Right?
Yeah.
It just like will work. Who needs sleep, right? Like I will work. So because I didn't sleep, I also like I didn't have time to go to eat properly. So I was eating junk food and candies and stuff like that. So I did that for like the next sprint because the first sprint that I tried, I said, okay, I will finish these tasks until the end of the sprint, and I finished like 20%. And I had to be there in the retrospect meeting and say that I finished only 20%. And then they say, okay, so when will you finish next time? I said, okay, by the next week I'll finish. So I didn't sleep trying to make sure I'm finishing, but I kept like producing more bugs because it was super complicated. It was like a huge feature, and I kept fighting with the bugs. Every time it didn't work, I was like, I need to go back home to work on the stuff. And it kept like the pressure kept building up until I got into this moment of I was walking up the stairs because this was the only exercise that I could do. So I was walking like I was in the third floor of the office, so I walked like up the stairs. And when I got like to the second floor or something like that, all of a sudden I got dizzy and I need to sit on the stairs, and I couldn't breathe. I had like short like pressure on my chest. I couldn't breathe, and I had like panic attack. No, so I didn't know it was a panic attack.
Yeah.
I thought I had like something wrong, like a heart attack or something like that. You don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
So I got I calmed down and I went to my boss and he told me, okay, go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. They did checks. They said we didn't find anything wrong. So I said, so what is it? I said, maybe you had a panic attack, and I didn't know what a panic attack. So I Googled it, and yeah, it was like the same symptoms. But then I used the honesty tool of like the end of the sprint. I just like couldn't make it because it was. So I asked for help. I said, I don't know how to get out of the situation, and it's scary because you might get fired, people
Yeah.
might judge you,
Yeah.
but I didn't see a way out other than being honest about that, we're a team, I need help here because I don't know how to get out of the situation. And this backend developer, where like the backend was in Java, he came to me after the meeting and said, did you write tests? Do you write tests for your code? It seems like you're suffering from a lot of bugs that you can like test. I said, didn't you hear me? I don't have time to learn how to test and to write it. I need to finish the feature.
Mhm.
And he told me, yeah, but it's like you're saying you need to drive, you need to get somewhere and you're walking there. It takes you like 6 hours, but you can learn how to drive and get there like in 30 minutes. So you're just preferring not to learn how to drive just to, make your life slower. I don't know, like
Yeah.
less efficient.
Yeah.
Good comparison.
Yeah. So I thought I told him, okay, so do you think I can do it like in fast, or at least get like initial confidence fast? He said, man, you can like take 2 days or just to install like the test run and just like learn to test like simple stuff that will help you. I said, okay. So I asked for my boss, like, can I take like 2 days or 3 days just to get something running, just to give me because I cannot handle the complexity. It's too much. I said, okay. And I stormed on it, like trying to dig up, and that's where I had a breakthrough because I installed like the plugin. It was Flash. It was before
Yeah.
I came back to JavaScript. It was Flex. So I had like Flex unit. This was like the test runner, and I wrote like wrote my first test, and I ran it, and I saw the green. I was like, wow, it worked. And I ran to the other room and like, yeah, it worked. And then I wrote some more, and some other tests broke. And so, wait, it's not the code that I even like touch now. It's some other code that I had a test for. It just saved me from the other bugs that
Nice.
I used to like fix or
Yeah.
don't find out about them.
And now
Right.
you have to look into it right now.
Right. So that was like a breakthrough, and it came from the honesty of saying, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Wow. What a
Mhm.
lesson.
And people come in and they offer help, and
Yeah.
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 Thanks.
So that's like another tool to relieve the pressure, because I think, some of the tools are for public speaking or
Right.
for even, you don't have to do it in a conference. Sometimes, a lot of companies, they have like these meetings where, one member teaches the other team members about
Yeah.
something he learned.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's a very scary
Oh yeah.
situation to be in, because you're being judged. You think you're being
So
judged.
many people don't
Right.
do it just because they're worried.
Yes.
Scared.
So you can use the same principles for like the big stage
Yeah.
on these like 5 people meetings, or 10.
Or your demos or any. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're on my team. They're my friends.
Exactly.
Right? You have to see them as your friends.
Well, let me tell you the opposite side of that too. When you don't be honest with people, right?
Mhm.
What happens then? Well, let's think through it for a second. I've been on the opposite side of that, and when people are honest with me, I can't help them. I don't know what's going on. Why haven't we seen work for 2 months?
Mhm.
Why haven't we seen any changes for months? Every time I talk to you, you say everything's fine, everything's great, you're so smart, and I know that you probably are. And every time somebody new comes up, I'm like, this is probably someone going to teach me something really cool someday, and I want to be their best friend.
Yeah.
But then you don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And then you don't deliver. And then you don't deliver again. And then you don't deliver again. And you're always sick. And there's always an excuse. And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Except to recommend to my higher ups that we find somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that's all I can do. But when you're honest with me, you give me a choice. And that's what you did with your coworkers. So honesty, not bad.
I think it takes some of the mystery out of it too, because when you're not honest with someone, that pressure keeps building, because in your head, you're kind of making it worse than it probably should be or could be.
Yeah.
But when you're just honest, then often people are like, oh, well, okay, this is easy to fix. Let's just do this, that, and this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's taken care of, and all that pressure just naturally goes away because they want to help you. I don't know. It's so, yeah. I like that.
And I can tell you that in terms of the imposter syndrome, I've been doing like testing for years
Yeah.
and years and years. And sometimes, especially in my line, so I kept like consulting clients to keep in touch with reality. Sometimes if you go only on the teaching route, you sometimes lose touch with like the real work, right? Like real project and real like problems and like teamwork and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I always kept like real work on like even 20% of the time of the week or something like that, just to stay in touch. But we always doubt. So I always doubt myself, like, oh, I need to do it full time in order to really be like an super expert or something like that. But oftentimes when you do it full time, don't have time to focus on trying to figure out better ways to do stuff, right? So it's a trade-off. Now, after talking with people that I consider like geniuses and like people, so I won't name names, not to stuff like that, but one person who worked at Google told me that once from the outside everything looks amazing,
Right.
but when he joined them and look at it from the inside, he saw that everything, basically nobody knows anything. Okay, everything is kind of stitched up and like broken, and like from the outside it looks amazing, but from the inside it's like lots of technical debt and lots of like no tests sometimes and no standards and all that stuff. And he realized when he got there that nobody really knows everything.